Are we ready for story time? We're going to hear a story that happened a long time ago. And it was just like now, just between winter and spring. And Evelyn was in her usual place. She had just finished doing her chores. Evening was her favorite time of day. She kept her eyes on the horizon, waiting for her fiancé to appear in the distance. Every evening, Frank would call on the homestead, bringing her family the necessities along with his deep affections for Evelyn. They were to be wed in the fall. This is the beginning of Cache Valley's greatest love story. This was the year when everything changed. Frank was a hard-working man. He spent most of his time tending to the animals of the Ward Clark Company, of which he was part owner. He spent any extra time he had with his fiancée. He was crazy about her and couldn't wait to marry and take care of her. They were quite a pair, Frank and Evelyn. Evelyn could never forget the night the first letter came. Just as she had finally managed to drift off, scared and confused, Evelyn considered riding the 12 miles to Frank's ranch, but the intrigue of the letter somehow calmed her enough to stay. Evelyn had never heard such kind and eloquent words, not even in all the novels she had read. The letter concluded only with a cryptic E as a signature and instructions where to leave a reply should she have the desire to write one. Evelyn had been privileged enough to have some formal education, and found that the way the letters addressed her reminded her of a life she had once dreamed of, a life she could never have with a man like Frank. She found her heart almost torn, even though she had long since promised it to Frank Clark. Frank was beginning to become suspicious of Evelyn's recent behavior. After much correspondence, Evelyn and her new friend decided to meet for the first time. Evelyn would pack a picnic for them to enjoy as they continued their wonderful conversations in person.
Ephraim, run!
My dearest Evelyn, the long days and lonely nights which have passed since last I heard from you have filled me with a renewed yearning to be with you. As I walk through the forest, every tree seems to take your lovely shape, and I see your face reflected in clear streamlets and ponds, and my heavy footsteps are as an echo of your heartbeat. I know that heart is promised to another, but I know also that I cannot bear any longer to be apart from you. Evelyn, no matter where your heart settles itself, know that mine shall be filled with a love stronger than any chains, for as long as it shall beat. Yours always, Ephraim.
That was the last letter Ephraim had written Evelyn. And this is the real story of Old Ephraim, King of the Bears.